Today I came up here with actually I will not say that I was scrolling, no. I was opening one of my social media page, and you know how sometimes they can propose to you something, and I just read the theme. And that theme resonated with me because it reminded me of some things, and I said why not to show up here and discuss it with you. And it has to do with experience, how there are people who sometimes complain, especially young people, and they say, you have worked, you have gone to school and got all those degrees, and now when you are officially kind of launched into the professional world, people keep asking you for experience when it's obvious that you don't have that much experience. Maybe you have done one, two internship here and there, and they do not. I know we talk a lot about entrepreneurship and industries here. Less industries, but more entrepreneurship. And I promise you one of those days that we were going to address the difference between entrepreneurship and industries. There's a difference. Sometimes people get stuck, and they're like, they told me to go to school, I went to school, I got all the degrees that they asked me to get. And then now, like this, they keep on asking me wherever I show up in interviews, what is your experience? What do you actually know how to do? And it can be frustrating. First of all, do you know that there is a difference between your degrees and what you actually and what you know how to do? Because I feel like I may take it for granted when there may be people out there that do not have a clue. That you may have gone through all this year between 20 to 22 years of schooling from nursery to now, and that is for the one that will stop after the master degree or the bachelor degree. You have gone through at least 20 to 22 years of schooling, and now you come out fresh and excited from those degrees, and now, oh, finally get off the school, at least for at this season. And then they tell you that they cannot hire you because you do not have an experience, which is the obvious, because by the way, you are from school. You understand what I mean? So how will I get experience if somebody is not daring enough and willing enough and to actually give me the experience? Somebody has to dare to give me experience for me to have the experience, kind of. And so people find themselves in this dilemma. So I wanted to talk about that today, internship. We have addressed it in one of our how do you call it, of our live stream, but I wanted to address it today. I wanted you to open up yourself to explore. As you are in school, or maybe you are even already in the working space, working field, explore yourself to learn new things. Learn new things manually, learn new things intellectually. Explore. Open up yourself to learn more, to learn new things. Don't say this is what I did in school, or this is what I've been working for the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Be open to explore even more, because experience will not necessarily doesn't have to necessarily come from the field or the school field where you are in. That's what I think. Because there's something beautiful in experience. Experience means you went out there and you did the job. You went on the practicality of the thing. You faced human beings. You faced situations with those human beings, and you kept on moving on. And it may have nothing to do in appearance, because we have also learned here that nothing is wasted. Everything that we learn is just adding on top of what we have already learned and giving us this beautiful, diverse, and deep, multicultural, multicolored portfolio and asset and invisible assets. And so as we are entering into the period of summer and vacation for most schools, some of you even working will take your leaves, learn new things, go into fields that look like they have nothing to do with your field or what you are currently doing. Of course, you should have a certain extent of interest. The interest can be that they feel intrigues you. That interest can be that they feel you are passionate about the field or whatever it is, but explore. Don't put yourself in a box. Learn a new language and not necessarily learn a new language according to what they told this is the language that you should learn. Go to the extreme. Go and learn Urdu. Go and learn Mandarin. Go learn things that are outside of your box of comfort zone. Things that only thinking about it challenges you. You are like, your mind comes to you and like, are you serious? Are we doing this now? That like, are you going to sustain it? Learn a new instrument. Don't go for the regular dugula instrument like everybody would think. Think something that people will be like, you are learning what saxophone? Like for what? Like, where are you going to play? Like who? Like, challenge yourself. It's not just even challenge yourself. Put yourself out there and put yourself out there outside the box. Outside the box. Because at the end of the day, this is what we make up what is part of your experience. And there is something beautiful when you are confronted again and again to spaces, to fields that do not look like your natural inclination or what you do in school or what you do at work, that it opens your brain in a certain way and it's like it activates some neuron patterns in your brain that are like, if we have been able from nowhere to go and learn saxophone, there is nothing that we cannot learn and being excellent at. It's like it activates a kind of neurons and patterns of thought in you, that of possibility, of the ability to, the belief that it's possible for you to learn completely strange things to you and still get it the best, while that will be a little bit more different than the one that has always just been and done what is in his field. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there are people that, and actually many people are like that, and it's a great thing, that can do one thing all their lives and they are very satisfied. And there's nothing wrong with that. One thing, one task, one office, all their lives, and they are very content and satisfied with that. To you guys, I say kudos. Continue in that path. That's what works for you. But for those of you who feel that they are multi-talented, they have multiple different interests. That sometimes interests from different fields that looks like they are not even connected. Your interest looks like they don't have even a link between themselves. Then to those ones, I want you to know that diving into your interest. There is nothing they are not detached. They may look detached from the externality and for now, but they are not detached. Everything you learn is just adding up on the invisible portfolio of experience and invisible asset that you are actually building up about yourself. And you will transmit that invisible portfolio to your children's and your children's children's. That's the first thing. The second thing is that it will make you in the field, the main field, or among the main field that you choose to focus on, it will give you another taste and another flavor. Why? Because you have experienced other things than that particular field. For example, I was telling you one of the live transmission that the fact that I have a law degree, no, not a law degree, sorry, a law background, gave me, and I was introduced into the media space, into the media field, made that when I was with my colleagues who were coming from communication and coming from most of them were coming from communication, social sciences, and me, I was coming from law. We did not apprehend the way we were writing our papers were different. The way we were presenting our papers were different. The way we were vocalizing, the way we were articulating our slots were different and our programs were different. Because in the law, with my law background, one thing that I learned is that words are extremely powerful and words are extremely delicate. You don't use words just for the sake of using them. Words mean something. So if somebody chooses to say, I hear you, I've heard you, rather than to say, I'm listening to you, is absolutely two different worlds. And I remember when I started, I was so shocked. I don't know if shocked was the right word, but I was very amazed at how my colleagues that had those communication background and social sciences background were so could use in a presentation of of a paper, or in during the program. They could just use as interchange as those words interchange. They could use it as if they mean the same thing when they were not meaning the same thing to me. But that was because of my background in law. That in law, just using the wrong word can make you lose a case. So you are very keen with the words that you choose to use. Secondly, in law, facts are important, sources are important. You don't come before the judge with assumption, with presupposition, with gossip. Basically, you have to have a source, and that source should be a source that you can defend before the court. So I also had in mind that if I present whatsoever paper, there was a time in my life I was doing a slot on fashion. I was talking about fashion and beauty and lifestyle. But if you see the way I was doing research, it was like I was doing it for a paper on politics or economics and finances. Because like when you open your mouth to give an information to people, it must be sure. You should have the data to back it. You should have the studies, the people of renown, people that the father is coming from this paper, people that are understood in that field as pillar and as trustworthy. You don't give information out to people just because it looks nice, and but you have no source to back it up. No viable source, no trustworthy source to back it up. And I was really surprised that my colleagues could do it without really. They had source, but sometimes I felt like their source were weak. You understand? And me, I was really keen on that, on having sources that are viable, trustworthy, that anyone that hears me on TV could take what I say and go and research and find that it was true. I'm not going to give something that I'm not 100% sure about to people. But that kind of precision, that kind of diligence in the research of the source came to me because I did law background. And so that's where I'm saying everything that you learn, you did not just learn it for learning's sake. Maybe that's what you thought till today, but I came to remind you that everything that you learn, you were building up an invisible portfolio. Everything is interconnected in what you learn. And you realize that if you have been somebody that have been traveling and learning new languages and whatever it is that you have used, that you have, expanded your portfolio in, you have taken cooking classes, you have learned to paint, and whatever it is, it has come to enhance, it has come to improve, it has come to give your way, how people say point of view of doing things in that particular field that everybody is doing differently. Absolutely differently. And that's the beauty of experience, of having different experiences, of exposing yourself to different things. Exposing yourself to things that are outside of your common natural exposure, going to places, giving yourself adventures into field that that quote unquote normally you would have not been there doing that, because it expands you. And in that field that you feel like this is your main field or business, it gives you new flavors, it gives you new ideas, it just expands your mind. It expands your mindset, it expands your imagination to do even better in that which you are focusing yourself on. And so the other point that I wanted to talk about, in building up experience, you have to work for someone. It may be a family business, that means you work for your parents or your grandparents. It may be not a family business, but you have to be open to work for someone. You have to be open to learn. And sometimes to learn, you have to serve someone. I will not use the word work for someone. Let me use the word serve someone. To learn, you have to be willing to serve somebody else. And I know that sometimes we don't want to hear it because all of us, we want to be at the top from the day one, but that's not the way things function. If you have to be a relevant leader, and I use my word very carefully here, if you have to be a relevant leader in this world, you have to be willing to serve people. You have to be willing to go down. In my mother tongue, they will say Suñu. You have to be willing to go down, to bow. Not really bow. It's not really bow. It's really literally translated. It means Suñu. That means it means bending yourself. That's what it means. It means bending yourself. And you cannot be a relevant leader, a leader that is efficient, compassionate, productive, creative, if you are unwilling and unavailable, that in a certain, at least in a certain phase of your life, you served others, you served someone else without a second agenda. And that one is very important. Serving someone without a second agenda. Hear me well. I'm not meaning that as you are serving this man in his shop, in his business, in his company, you are not only already having the dream that one day you have your own, if you have those categories, because there are also people, and I'm learning that, and it's okay that want to work for somebody else and then have come to their 60s, 30s and go to have their leave and continue their lives and whatever the case is. They are really happy. They don't want to earn a business of that kind. Maybe they have other things that they want, but they are not into that. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do company. No. And it's okay. But even if you have that dream that I want my own one day, and in fact, especially if you have that dream that you want your own one day, even if it's not in that field that you are working in right now, you have to be willing to serve others without a plan B, without a second agenda. That means, yes, you are serving this man. And in the course of serving, if you are serving this man, this woman, you will learn things. Because it's one thing to learn it in school. It's one thing to learn it in a training, and it's another thing to learn it on the spot. Practically. It is two worlds apart. The law you do in school, and for law is a little bit different because you really need the school to learn the different codes and which one is. But when you come on the set, when you are on ground and you see the applicability, how it's actually applied to do it, is another world altogether, you know. So while you are serving this man, while you are serving this woman, whatever is a relative, is a parent, or somebody that is estranged to you, you have to do it wholeheartedly. Serve that person as if this is the only chance you will ever have in life to serve someone. Serve that person as if this is the business that your mother left for you. And she has already told you that at the end of this training, serving her, you will take over the company. Serve as if it's a family business and you are the heir of the business. Why? Because it will give you a different perspective. And when you will face the challenges, the day-to-day challenges of that position you are in the company, you will not face it like, oh, so and so happened, we could not do better. And fold your arms and wait for, I don't know who you are waiting for to come and save you. And there's always someone in the company, that kind of girl or boy, kind of woman or man who comes and who is just so dedicated to the company and solving problems. And most of the time, people view those type of people as, don't you think about yourself? It's true that among those who do that, there are those who have there's two mentalities. There's the one who does that is problem solving, when whosoever in whatever department is facing anything, they know that they can get to this person will help them to find a solution. There are those who do it in for grades and promotion and to be able to make money or to be able at a certain point in time to ask for a raise, which is good and fine. And it is not bad to have it in your mind. And there are those who do it first and foremost because they do it as if this company is theirs. They don't serve in that company as if I'm serving so and so. I'm working for so and so. They do it as if they work in that company as if that company belongs to them. They face the challenges and they bring results and solution to the challenges as if it is their personal company. I remember one time one of my colleagues asked me, I don't know what was happening, and I know what was happening. I remember. And so I was telling to my guys, because I was in a department where I was the only woman, and which is the case most of the time in media department, there is the rate of women is quite low. I think it's 90%. I would say 90% men and 10% women. When it comes to front camera offices, that means host and all that, maybe 15%, 20% when it comes to front camera. But when you go now into the back office, like the technicality of the media itself, you can find maybe 10% of women, 10%, 5% according to the regions where you find yourself. And so I'm in this department with young men filled with testosterone. I'm not the only woman. And I was like, guys, because sometimes they will forget electricity in the room. They will forget to shut down the AC. They will leave the machine on. Like, yes, most of the time our machine had to be left on when we're leaving so that they can render. For those of you who understand the language, so that they can render during the night. But there were days that the computers did not need to be left on. And I was like, guys, you cannot continue to do like that. These things that you are doing, you live with light, you leave the office with lights and with AC on, and the computers are on. Like, someone pay the bills here. Someone pays the bills of this electricity thing that you people are doing as if. And like gently, jokingly, I was, pushing it like, guys, let us let us just be a little bit more intentional, please. And so one of those days, one of the guy told me, what's even wrong with you? You are doing as if this is your father's company. And this is what I answered him. And I said, yes, I'm doing as if it's my father's company. Why? Because don't you want to be an owner one day? Don't you want to own your own business into company one day? How will you feel if you become aware that some of your employees, just because you are the one to pay the bills, leave the offices with AC on, lights on, computer on, just because they are not the one to pay the bills? How will you feel? No, you have to think about it. How will you feel? If it's okay for you that your employees can deliberately leave on ACs and computers and electricity, light everywhere, just because they are not the one to pay the bills, and you are okay with that, in fact, you are even happy that they do that to you, then move on. Then continue. But if you know that one day in your life you would like to have your own company where you are the employer, you are the one feeding families sustainably, you would not want someone to do this to you. It's not about the money. It's not about, is it expensive to you to pay the bills? Or it's not about the money. It's about mindset. It's about mindset. Who will give you what is yours if you have not shown faithfulness and diligence to what belongs to another? And that other may be a family member. Who will give you what is yours? Who will give you what is yours? So you have to understand that it's just parts. It's just the pattern. You have to be willing to serve someone at a certain point in your life. Someone, it may be one, more people, but that phase, you cannot escape it. You have to be willing to serve someone so that in the due time, When you have gathered that experience from others, not only learning what to do, but even learning what not to do. Because of the trials and the experiences of others, you can gain time and wisdom by knowing that no, this plus that doesn't work. So rather than you going and trying and attempting and failing, you have already learned by serving others and seeing how they fail that this equation doesn't work. I will not even go there. But you have to accept that serving others is part is an integral part from you becoming a leader of others tomorrow. You have to be willing to serve. You have to be willing to serve someone. And then maybe in another live stream I would address the fact that you have even to be willing to serve a cause. You cannot go through life without anything without any beliefs that has become a persuasion to you and for which you are willing to live for. That the reason why, even if death come and knocks it to your door, you say death is not the moment now for me to die. I cannot die now. I refuse to die now. I'm going to tell you when I feel satisfied with life and that I'm ready to go. And I'm going to quietly, a very peacefully go. I will not go from hospital to hospital, up and down, stressing up the whole family, worrying and making the whole family to be anxious when I know very deeply that I just want to die. The day I want to die, I'm going to make a big feast some days before, bring all the family together, have a great time with them, and then go to bed and not wake up. That's all. No. We are not torturing people here emotionally, physically, and financially when we very, very well know that we just want to die. You have to find a cause for which you are willing to live for. Something that is bigger than your life. Oh, yes. Something that is bigger than you just getting married, having your children, building your house and sending your children to school, seeing them being married and giving you great grandchildren. Something bigger than that. Something that is so big that the days that you're on the bed and you feel like, why am I even on earth? By the way, why am I here? That cause could speak to you and say, this is why you are here. The cause that can keep you waking up every day, even if it's like you don't have anything externally, you don't have the marriage, you don't have the money, you don't have this, that, and the third. But yet you can show up confidently every day, feel full with pure joy and satisfaction and gratitude. Why? Because that cause is speaking to you. This is why you are here. You cannot just go through life for you. It will be exhausting. At a certain point, you will feel aimless. You feel like a sheep that doesn't have a cause. And when you are feeling like a sheep that doesn't have a cause, it's very dangerous because anything can take you away. Human beings have been conceived and designed to live by purpose, to live by conviction and persuasion. If you do not have a cause that is so, in which you find so much conviction and persuasion, you will not live long. You will live 50, 60, but live long. Why should you live long? Getting married, making the children, sending them to school, seeing them be married, having children, it's not that much years. It doesn't take that long to experience all that. It doesn't take that long. And knowing that the human beings that we are, we have been created not only to survive, but to thrive. For you to thrive, you must have a cause, something that you believe in more than anything else, and that is bigger than you. That is bigger than the paradigm of I, me, and myself. That is bigger than that. Something that can impact generations. Something that will change the face of the earth. Something that will change the course of history of humanity. That's what will keep you alive. That's what will keep you alive. And most of the time is when you make your cause is big enough to include others. Your cause is big enough to include the betterment of others that maybe you will never even meet physically, but yet you are having them in mind. Yet you are having them in mind. Serving others is part of the path for you to be the genuine leader that you have always been called to be. and serving for a cause that is greater than yourself. Maybe helping women, maybe helping children, maybe helping your community, but it should be bigger than the paradigm of I, me, and myself. Absolutely. So guys, on this note, I'm going to leave you. For those of you who want to dive even more, there's a course that we have released recently, the Reinvented Woman Blueprint. The link is in the description box. I'm going to tell you bye-bye, and probably tomorrow, if not after tomorrow, but make it tomorrow after tomorrow, we'll meet up again to address something else. And let us remember that be kind to yourself, don't judge yourself, and be happy, because that's the inherent quality of your nature. That's what you are. You are happiness, and your happiness is on course, because happiness is you. Bye bye, guys. Meet up again with you tomorrow.